Hey, thanks for joining us here at picksandparlays.net. I'm your host, Nick Geber. We got a wonderful show for you today with College Bowl season. Well, we're deep into it. We're going to do a little College Bowl rapid fire with two of our star handicappers. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. Let's get on with it. Let's bring them in. Tony El Tigre Tellez and Craig El Guapo Trapp. Gentlemen, it's college football rapid fire. Let's start, shall we, with the January 1st games. Are you guys ready?
We are. Let's do it.
We're ready for the new year.
All right, let's do it. Let's bring in our first games. Let's talk Outback Bowl, Minnesota, Auburn. The Golden Gophers 10-2, 6-4-2 against the spread. 2 losses in the last 3 games. Well, that dashed their college football playoff hopes. Honestly, LSU is going to dash everybody's college football playoff hopes. But this is the first New Year's Day game for Minnesota since 1962. And you know, our very own handicapper, Chip Chirimbus, was on site in that game in 1962, covering it for Picks and Parlays. All right, they've gone over in 5 of the last 6, averaging 54 points a game. The Auburn Tigers, 9-3, 9-3 against the spread. Their 3 losses came to Georgia, LSU, and Florida. Not too bad to lose to those guys. Total has gone under in 4 of the last 5. Let's start with you, El Guapo. Craig Trapp, Auburn, 7-point favorites. Total 53.5. Take it away.
I don't know how you take Minnesota here. I just don't think Minnesota has the speed or the size to deal with Auburn. I thought Auburn's win against Alabama last game of the season was so impressive. Obviously, Alabama was without Tua there, but I mean, they ran up and down the field on Alabama. I think they're going to do the same in Minnesota. It's a great story that what P.J. Fleck getting them to where he's gotten them so fast, but I just don't think Minnesota has the athletes to deal with Auburn. Let's play Auburn here minus the 7. I would get on this now, though, because I see this line moving off of that key number of 7.
All right, El Tigre, Tony Tellez, agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree that with Craig. Gus Malzahn, he needs something positive. He's going to be one of the hot seat coaches, I think, going into next season. They got to develop that freshman quarterback. They showed very well in that win to Alabama, moving the football, 5.4 yards to carry on the ground. And, of course, they were competitive in losses to LSU and Georgia. We saw Minnesota, when they stepped up against good competitions, the results weren't very good, losing to Iowa and Wisconsin against physical teams. I'm going to go ahead. I'm with Craig here. Lay the points here with Auburn.
Lay the points with Auburn it is, gentlemen. All right, by the way, don't forget, on the website, picksandparlays.net, right now, 15% off. Use promo code BOWL. Put those expert picks in your shopping cart. Bet with the best sporting intelligence you can get. We have it all. Picksandparlays.net. Let's move along. Next game, Citrus Bowl, Michigan, Alabama. The Wolverines, 9-3, 7-5 against the spread. Jim Harbaugh's built a great program at Michigan, but they're 0-16 straight up and 7-9 against the spread in the last 16 games as a dog. As for Alabama, they still had a decent season despite Tua's injury, though not to most Tide fans' expectations. They're 15th in scoring defense, 17th in total yards allowed. They are 7-point favorites, total points 59. Let's start with you, Comandante El Tigre.
Yeah, I'm going to go again with the SEC here. I'm going to take Alabama minus the 7. We saw Michigan really struggle against physical teams in the Big Ten, losing to Wisconsin by 21-29 to Ohio State. The Wolverines defense giving up 487 yards to the Badgers, 577 to the Buckeyes. The Wisconsin ran all over them, 6.3 yards to carry. And, Shea Patterson, the quarterback for Michigan, well, only 49% of his passes were completed against top 25 teams. And Alabama knows Patterson well with his time in Ole Miss. I really like here the Crimson Tide in this spot. Well, they're coming off an ugly loss to Auburn, and I know Nick Saban's not going to be very happy practicing for this game. It's still a New Year's Day bowl game. I think it's enough to get them up. I'm going to go ahead and take Alabama here minus the 7.
All right, Craig Trapp, Alabama minus the 7 for the Citrus Bowl.
I mean, I would definitely, if I was going to play the side here, I would definitely play Alabama. I think the stronger play is the over 58.5 here. Michigan gave up a ton to an Ohio State team that can really score, but I mean, this Alabama team scored a ton against a pretty good Auburn defense, gave up a ton, of course. I think you're going to see a lot of points here. I just don't know how much effort you're going to see defensively from Alabama with, of course, a lot of these, they're superstars looking ahead to the NFL draft like always. So let's take the over 58.5. I definitely wouldn't play Michigan, though. Of course, Jim Harbaugh's terrible bowl record since being at Michigan and terrible record against really games that matter. So if you're going to play the side, it definitely would be on Alabama. But the stronger play for me is the over 58.5 here.
All right, so we're taking Alabama. We're taking over 50. We're taking the over on this one, 58.5. Remember, if you want those expert picks, picksandparlays.net. Load up your shopping cart. We've got 33 other handicappers other than these two fine gentlemen here with me as well. So it's your choice. 15% off any of your expert picks. Use promo code BOWL. Let's keep the bowl goodness going. Let's sweeten it up a little bit, shall we, gentlemen? The Sugar Bowl, Georgia, Baylor, the Bulldogs 11-2, 7-6 against the spread. They look set for the playoffs until they were blown out by LSU in the SEC championship game. Quarterback Jake Fromm is the key, and they need a big performance from this young man. They're 4-2 against the spread in the last 6, and the Baylor Bears 11-2, 9-4 against the spread. Not sure if quarterback Charlie Brewer will be fit following his concussion in that Big 12 title game. If not, the backup Jerry Bohannon, who has only thrown 21 passes the entire season. Baylor under 4-2 the last 6. Their under has gone 4-2 in the last 6. You know, reading is a primary skill. The Georgia Bulldogs, 7.5-point favorites. Total 41.5. Let's start with you, Craig El Guapo, El Jefe also. How are you doing? Let's go, Craig.
I mean, I'm on the SEC again here. I just, I don't know how much faith you can have against Baylor when Oklahoma was just looked like they couldn't stop anybody. So Baylor's really 2 losses that were close to Oklahoma. I don't know how much credit you really can give them. I think Georgia has a little to prove here because, of course, they lost, I think 2 of their 3 toughest games this year. So I think Georgia will come out motivated. I think Georgia will win easy. Let's lay, this line started at 7. I see it at 5.5 here, even some 5. So make sure you shop this around. Let's take Georgia. Even if you had to lay the 7, I still would take Georgia.
And, of course, early in the season, the Georgia Bulldogs were everybody's darling in college football. And, boy, how that changed. All right, Tony.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Baylor. I'm going to go button heads here with Craig. Baylor plus 5.5. The line moved down because Georgia has announced they're sitting out many of their starters. A lot of their players are heading into the NFL, and they don't want to get an injury. And it tells you what they think about the Sugar Bowl. They're sitting; these players are sitting at the Sugar Bowl. They're very disappointed not making the playoffs this season. One thing with Georgia, they really struggle getting points on the board, being held at 24 points or fewer in 7 of their past 10. Baylor, a really good spread team, covering 5 straight, 8 of their past 10. A really good coach who just turned down an NFL call. That tells you Rule's doing a good job there at Baylor. I'm going to go ahead and take Baylor in the spot. Charlie Brewer is expected to play coming off that concussion he had in the Big 12 title game as an accurate quarterback. 65% of his throws are completed. They're balanced. They run the football. I'm going to take Baylor here at plus 5.5.
All right, there you have it. Remember, 15% off, promo code BOWL. Put those wonderful expert picks in the basket and enjoy a nice discount on us. All right, one more for New Year's Day. Let's do it, shall we? It's the Rose Bowl, Oregon, Wisconsin. What an absolute spectacle it is to go to the Rose Bowl until you're stuck in traffic for 6 hours trying to get out of Pasadena. All right, Oregon Ducks, 11-2, 7-6 against the spread. The Pac-12 champions. They lost to Auburn, though, the opening day. But actually, it was the loss to Arizona that completely killed their college football playoff chances and hopes. They're 15th nationally on defense, 35.9 points per game, the 9th best defensively at 15.7 points per game. Look, this is shop window time for quarterback Justin Herbert. As for the Badgers, they're 10-3, Big Ten runner-up, 10th best D in the NCAA, just 16.1 points per game. Look, this is a battle of the 2 top defenses. Let's go. Tony Tellez, what say you? We got Wisconsin,
yeah, I'm going to go ahead.
2.5-point favorites, 51 points.
Yeah, you can find +3. You can find 3 in some places. I'm going to take Oregon +3. Was really impressed with Oregon's balance offensively in their win against a good physical team in Utah. Remember, Oregon was impressive in that win. In that close loss to Auburn to open the season. Ducks. One thing to note here: the Ducks have experience on their offensive line to help protect Justin Herbert. But one thing about Oregon is they found their run game toward the end of the season. You saw that in the Pac-12 title game. I do respect their results going into Washington and USC and coming away with wins. Badgers' losses this season came to Illinois on the road, twice to Ohio State. The Wisconsin defense wore down late in the season, giving up 492 yards to the Buckeyes in that Big 12 title game. And, of course, they give a lot of yardage to Nebraska, almost 500 yards. I'm going to go ahead and take the points here with Oregon.
All right, Craig.
Well, this is my Rose Bowl, my top play on New Year's Day. You can get it over at picksandparlays.net. What I think the key to this game, and I think I have that key, is which is the 4 real team? Is it the Wisconsin first half against Ohio State, or with this Wisconsin the other 7 or 6 quarters against Ohio State, because that is the key. Because if they can't turn that around, they will not do well against this Oregon solid offense. So, but you can get that over at picksandparlays.net right now, $37.99.
All right, how about that? And I'll tell you what, if that's the key, you can buy that key right now for 15% off and open that lock. Use a promo code BOWL. All right, that's going to wrap up our January the 1st games. But right now, it's college football rapid fire. Let's talk January the 2nd bowl games. Let's go. Craig Trapp, Tony Tellez. Let's start the Birmingham Bowl, shall we? Boston College, Cincy. The Eagles, they just fired Steve Adazio, yet somehow find themselves in a bowl game. Interim coach Rick Gunnell will take the helm. They covered the spread in only 2 of the last 11 playoff games. This is really kind of a garbage bowl game, let's be honest. 6-6 in the bowl game. But okay, the Bearcats, though, and I know that's why we're doing it, Craig. I get it, your beloved Bearcats. Who did the Bearcats piss off to get invited to this crap fest, though? That's really the question I have for you. They're 10-2. So look, they had 2 losses to Memphis in otherwise what would have been a perfect season, and they get to play a 6-6 Boston College Eagles at the Birmingham Bowl. I'll just keep my opinions to myself. However, Cincy, big favorite, 7 points, total 55.5. Since it's your beloved Bearcats, Mr. Trapp, let's start with you.
Well, since they actually had 3 losses, they had 2 to Memphis, 1 in the regular season, 1 in the, of course, American Conference championship game, and then Ohio State. So, I mean, not really a disgrace losing to those 2 teams.
No.
I do think Cincinnati defense and the run game will be the key here. I think they win and cover, but I think the easier play is the under 55.5. This BC team, not real fast. And so I think they're going to have to stay away from trying to stay in up-tempo, a score fest. So if they have any chance in this one, it has to be a lower scoring, slower game. Let's take the under 55.5. But I do think the Bearcats win and cover if you want to play that side as well.
All right, well, not real fast is a very polite way of saying it. They're also not real good, and they don't have a real coach. So I would say they're coming into this game not with the biggest of advantages coming up against a good Bearcat side. All right, Commandante LT Gray, what say you about this game?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati here, -7. BC will be without their starting quarterback, Anthony Brown, with a leg injury. And their best player, offensive player, their all-everything player on this team is their junior running back, A.J. Dillon. He is going to go to the NFL draft. He's not going to play in this game. So that's a huge blow to Boston College chances. As you said, they were a disappointing 6-6 team. Even their offensive coordinator has left the program, taking a job at Northwestern. And, of course, BC in the non-conference has failed to cover 5 of their past 6. And Brown's backup, Dennis Grosso, only 48% completion rate, and he doesn't have his best weapon in the running game. Cincinnati is a good defensive team, and of course, they did cover in those games against Memphis, a team that headed to the Cotton Bowl. But Bearcats quarterback Desmond Ridder, I think will find things a little easier here against a really down defense for BC. They gave up 480 yards a game. That's why Adazio got fired, because the defense went south. I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati -7.
All right. We're all in agreement on that one. The Birmingham Bowl. Let's move along. One last one. The January 2nd bowl games. Extravaganza. It's the Gator Bowl. It's Indiana, Tennessee. Tennessee, 1.5-point favorites. Total 52. Let's start with you, Tony.
Yeah, I love this game a lot. This is my best play here for college football bowls to start the new year. Pick it up right now at picksandparlays.net.
All right, there you have it. You can pick it up for 15% off. Waste not a moment. Put it in your basket. Put promo code BOWL. Enjoy those savings for the new year along with your winnings. Craig, Gator Bowl.
We made a lot of money betting Tennessee or betting Indiana as underdog this year, but most of the times when we were betting an underdog, they were getting way more points than this. This is a little worrisome to me because I like Indiana. I think they win this game, but man, I wish I was getting, usually the SEC teams, they get a lot more respect, and I would expect this line to maybe creep up. I would love it if we could get this at 3, but I just don't know how you could take Tennessee. They just aren't very talented. That's the facts. I think things are maybe moving in the right direction. Got some good young players, but I just think Indiana maybe is a little more to play for here. The Gator Bowl is a pretty big bowl for Indiana, so let's take Indiana plus the points here. I would wait right till game time, hoping that this line moves up. But let's take Indiana, and hopefully we'll get a little better line close to game time.
All right, there you have it. That's our College Bowl preview for January 1st and January 2nd here at picksandparlays.net. We live stream throughout the day. Lots of free picks on the site, of course, and our expert picks are awaiting for you. Once again, final offer, 15% off. Use promo code BOWL. Stay tuned here at picksandparlays.net for more great videos. Until then, have a great new year. And remember, bet, win, repeat.